In today's video, I'm going to be talking about some of the pros and cons of the two zombies maps we currently have in Black Ops 6, Liberty Falls and Terminus, as well as the general zombies mode itself. This will be pretty much an opinion based video, as it's mostly going to be things that I find good and bad about both maps and the mode. I'm going to be as fair as I can, and absolutely feel free to leave your thoughts, opinions and feelings on each topic in the comments, as I'd love to join in the discussion with anyone who's interested. But without further ado, let's get straight into the discussion. Let's start with the pros. These could be shared between both maps, or might be individual on each map, and I'll be sure to differentiate when the need arises, as well as differentiating when it's a map opinion or a mode opinion. The Wonder Weapons each have fun designated quests. While the math part of the Beam Smasher quest might not be everyone's cup of tea, it's not the worst side quest in order to get the weapon. It's not too difficult, it can be fully finished in 1 to 2 rounds, and even if you end up having to pay Peck the 5,000 points for the solution, you can actually get those points back from Peck by doing another small side quest. By frying a fish and then giving it to Peck after getting the codes off him, he will give you back a gift that has your 5,000 points, meaning he gave you the codes basically for free. The fact that side quests are still being found even after the game's been out for almost 3 weeks is great. It's a great sign for future maps. The quest for the jet gun is incredibly simple as well. The only difficult part is turning the water valve to build up the pressure. The rest of the quest is simple, locating the groundskeeper after getting enough kills in the graveyard, and getting the mangler cannon to get the wires. Plus, the jet gun in this game is actually worth having both in general and in the boss fight because of the explosive shot you can do by holding your aim button, which allows you to completely clear the area around you to get a breather. Overall, the Wonder Weapon quests are fun and easy and don't detract from the regular flow of gameplay. Second, the Easter egg quests aren't being shoved in your face. In previous maps, the main quest was a very big focus of the maps, and it felt like you couldn't just play them to enjoy them. Maps like Mob of the Dead, Origins, the Rising, some of the absolute best maps feel so Easter egg focused that it almost feels like you need to do the main quest in order to enjoy the map. Well, yes, you can play all of those maps without doing the main quests. I have often felt that some maps are far too reliant on the Easter eggs to hold up the quality of the map. That statement there is going to get me hate, but that's the nature of having an opinion on the internet, and I absolutely welcome the discussion and discourse in the comments. But in terms of the two new maps we've gotten in Black Ops 6, they don't feel completely focused on the Easter eggs. They feel like they could both be casual maps that you could just jump on, grind out camos, or go for high rounds with friends on. We need more maps like that, where you can just jump on, screw around, and have fun. Third, the maps have excellent training spots. Both maps have a few great training locations to help you practice training and help you progress rounds and grind camos safely. On Terminus, you have the area under the ether cannon and the recreation yard outside the living quarters and secret lab. On Liberty Falls, you have West Main Street outside Liberty Lanes that connects the PhD Flopper stairway to the main doors of the bank. You also have the whole area of Hill Street and Washington Avenue at the back door of the bank. Both sets of areas on both maps are wide open and offer great ways to not only train, but easy access to ammo crates if you need a refill, and both are basically central locations of each map, meaning you're almost equidistant from the rest of the main portion of the map. Fourth, and this is more of a general observation, gobblegums are no longer the crutch they were in BO3. You can play an entire Easter egg run of either map and have absolutely no need for gobblegums at all. Being able to buy all perks without limit is absolutely an improvement over the original Zombies formula, and that in turn somewhat reduces the dependence on a perkaholic to obtain all the perks. But at the same time, some of the lower rarity ones have become more viable, such as Killjoy, Cashback, which is now only a rare gum, and even Who's Keeping Score because of the higher Pack-a-Punch cost. Fifth, and finally, is the amount of side Easter eggs. There is so much additional content to partake in during a standard game of zombies, from the bowling minigame on Liberty Falls to an actual treasure hunt for a cursed medallion on Terminus. There is just so much extra stuff to do at any given time that each game can lead you to discovering something new and trying out something new. And now, for the cons. First, and I think this is obvious, the manglers. Why is it, after round 30, that the game decides, you know what, you've had things far too easy. Let's send an entire factory of Russian manglers after you and just pray you get through this round. The fact that you can encounter up to 5 manglers or more per round after round 30 is absolutely insane. Of course there are ways to deal with them, but combining them with the amalgams and the abominations who are already absurdly tanky past round 30 is a bit much. Again, it's not something we can't handle, but it creates a form of almost artificial difficulty that's just there due to the sheer number of tanky mini-bosses and manglers. Also, can we all just accept that this guy didn't get 2 feet outside of the church before being clotheslined by about 50 manglers and an abomination? Oh, we can? Great, thanks. Second, and this is one I've seen online quite a bit, gun damage feels far too weak. When you get past round 30, the damage fall off of the guns feels absurdly sharp. You're dumping mag after mag into a Mangler, Amalgam, Abomination, hell even some of the regular zombies just stand there challenging you to try again after putting a full mag into their face. Even leveling up the rarity and upgrading your PAP levels doesn't really matter once you reach the 30s. It feels like every gun becomes a pea shooter and you just have to rely more and more on the kill streaks instead of the guns you've spent the entire game upgrading, which just feels like wasted effort. Third, and this one is in relation to the Terminus boss fight. While the entirety of the map of Terminus is fun to play on and the quest itself is fairly easy outside of a few points like, for example, the bomb step and the cargo boat lockdown, the boss fight can feel extremely cheap in its final phase. Let me explain. This boss has two insta-kill or insta-down mechanics. The first is its full-on wipe mechanic where it glows blue, then you have to break line of sight in order to survive the wipe. The second is its tongue attack where it lays its tongue in the middle of the area where you're trying to survive, and if you even touch the tongue, you immediately go down or die if you have no self-revive. Here are my issues. Firstly, the wipe itself isn't unfair. It's the fact that the area you have to try and hide and survive in is incredibly small. On top of that, the only two safe areas to hide are in corners, and this just so happens to be the two areas where you can get swarmed the easiest. This feels horribly unfair, especially if you're trying to damage the boss enough so that the chopper gunner can finish it off. Secondly, that tongue attack. The fact that no matter what, touching the tongue is an instant kill is extremely cheap. It feels like it's just there again to artificially increase the difficulty of something that is already difficult enough. Yes, we've had bosses that have wipe mechanics, like Valentina from Cold War and the Keeper from Der Eisendrache, but those felt much more like part of their actual moveset and not just a cheap one-shot that I personally feel is designed to punish you for attempting to stay safe. If Sherrick wants to have wipe mechanics and one-shot mechanics in the game, that's fine. I'm all on board for that because when it's done right, it feels fair. It genuinely gives you the feeling of if you screw up, you will die. But the Terminus insta-kill mechanics don't feel like that. They feel like they're just there to cheat you out of a completion, which really isn't fair. If the arena was bigger, or if every zombie type wasn't part of the fight, then the mechanic would feel much better. And that is my current pros and cons list for BO6, as well as some examples for specific maps. I will be updating this in the future as more maps are released and we get more and more content for the zombies mode. If you enjoyed this little discussion, feel free to leave a like as always, and drop a sub and ring the bell to be notified if and when I upload. Have a nice day, and as always, I'll see you all in the next video, but until then, bye for now.